Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today on our channel is Throwback Thursday, where we give you a little bit of movie news and then talk about an older movie that relates to it in some way. Today's news is about Saw X and a little bit of information we've gotten about the movie. So let's jump right into it. Alright everybody, so today we have to talk a little bit about Saw X, because there is some news that's come out about this movie, and that news has to do with when exactly the movie takes place in the timeline. Now, previously we knew that this was a prequel, but everyone kind of assumed that this was the first in the tell, and it's actually not. According to a new featurette that was released that you can find on YouTube if you're interested, just look for Saw X featurette and you'll be able to find it. But according to this, the sequel, or rather prequel, isn't a prequel to the first Saw movie, but a sequel to the first Saw movie, making it actually Saw 2 in terms of the timeline. Now, it's not as confusing as some people who aren't Saw fans might think. We know that in the first Saw movie, we got to meet Jigsaw, but not in the way that you expected. And then by the second movie, we were aware of everything that was going on. More of the story starts to come into fruition as you go into the sequels, and you learn more and more. So having this film take place after Saw 1, but before Saw 2, may be the smarter way to have done things. Because I often wondered just how they were going to incorporate certain characters in there. I kind of knew that they would be able to manipulate the timeline somewhat. But it turns out that this movie will in fact take place a couple weeks after the original Saw movie. So what you're getting here is a movie that takes place just a few short weeks after the first one. So we'll get to see more of his relationships with the other people who would later become his apprentices. And we'll get to see more of what makes him tick in terms of why he's doing what he's doing. I feel that going this route and giving us something that's not set directly before the original also allows for us to play around a little bit more. Get to meet these characters and get to know them in a way that we didn't before. And that's kind of what I said originally when I found out this was going to be a prequel, that we would get to actually see some of the characters that we didn't get to see before, that we would get to meet and get to see these relationships start to form. I think it's really clever to set this only a few short weeks after Saw 1, because now in doing this, we get to build upon what we learned in Saw 2. We get to find out more about Amanda, more about everyone that is in the Saw 2 movie probably. We get to see how John started off down the trail where he would have all of these apprentices. I actually want to see more character development in this movie. However, they've also said that they purposely made it look like the original Saw movie, that sort of darker, grittier look. Filmed it the same way and everything. So now we kind of get to where we understand why they did what they did. Because this movie is in fact supposed to be Saw 2. That excites me more than if it was a direct prequel. So I wanted to share that bit of information with you guys and just kind of see what your thoughts are on this movie coming up being the direct sequel to Saw 2, and then Saw 2 happening immediately after this one. But what is our throwback movie of the week? Our throwback movie of the week is Saw 2. Saw 2 starts off with a cop who's going to have to investigate the Saw murders. And what he actually ends up doing is throughout the movie, he knows one of the people in the traps. And then we also kind of will gather that we know one of the people in the traps. Because one of the people in the trap is Amanda herself. So there's this circle of people that are all in this room. They all have to find their way out of this building in order to survive, with several different traps set up solely for them. This is the stuff that Escape Room should have been. Except, probably a little bit more gory than Escape Room could have hoped to imagine. If you've ever seen Escape Room, you kind of know what I mean. But this movie does a fantastic job at making you care about these characters, much the way I said this sequel/prequel has to do. So seeing this character development, we start to care for this cop, and we start to care for the people that we're seeing, even though some of them are in fact a little bit less than nice. But in this movie, they're the type of characters that you're waiting to see them get their just desserts. And that's what makes this movie kind of cool, is even when you are against some of these characters, there are times you actually find yourself rooting for them only because of the puzzles involved and the things that come up. And the cop, they do a really good job with the cop too. The cop is Eric Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg, and you slowly start to really care about his character as the movie progresses. And I feel that that is one of the pluses to this movie as well. Donnie Wahlberg would go on to reprise this role in several of the Saw movies. So you know that he comes to like this central protagonist, an antagonist, if you will, to John Kramer. And that makes it really interesting to watch him and his character development in this film progress into how we feel about him going forward. It's a case of the characters done right in this movie. This movie does a really good job of that. And even if you're not a fan of horror, if you like suspense and a little bit of danger within your suspense, you could do worse than this movie. And if you are a horror fan, there is enough gore to keep you satisfied. But as always, we want to know what you guys think. As always, everybody, we want to know what you guys think. So make sure you're leaving us that comment in the comment box below. Make sure you're sharing this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of the conversation as well. Then hit that like button as hard as you can. It's free, it helps the channel, and we appreciate it. Miko says we need more subscribers. And Miko wouldn't lead you wrong. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we do. Then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.